Yeah, JC Mendoza.
Ted Jones.
Good to see you, buddy. We're live. We're getting straight into it.
Let's do it, man. This is
How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. It's nasty out there today.
It's a scorcher, bro. It's the humidity, and I feel like the middle of July, it always gets you.
Yeah, it's and especially with this hair. Like I feel like it's like 15 degrees
bro. Okay,
hotter, yeah.
So I had. I mean, obviously not as long as yours, but like I had hair where I was just able to like put it in a bun a little bit. And then anytime I've had that probably like 3 or 4 times in my life. And then right around this time, I always end up just getting a buzz cut. I can't control it.
That's the smart thing to do. But the thing about me is that I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm so dumb. And like my hair has become such a central part of, especially my comedy. Like I have a whole nother set from when like I rarely go on stage without my hair out. But if I do, I have like a whole different set. Because I have so many jokes that have to do with my hair.
Do you ever put it up?
I do. I have a joke where I put it up on stage. That's always a lot of fun. And then sometimes I'll get braids and I have to do a whole nother like set list. Because some of my material doesn't hit.
Have you been like a long hair guy your whole life?
No. So I was always a short hair guy like all my whole life. And then I think in 2016, I did a short film with one of my good friends. And then the deal that I made with myself was I'm not cutting my hair until we get this short film made into a feature. And obviously it's never been made into a feature.
So you're still waiting.
And I'm still waiting. And that's probably one of the only things that could get me to cut my hair, but I love it. I'm so attached to it.
Do you ever get trims?
I do. I have a curly cut lady that I go to. I never go to barbers no more because barbers, you know, they're very unreliable.
Oh, okay. So you need like a professional. Is it like a salon style?
Yes, I go to a salon. I have a lady that touches my hair. Only one. She's the only person I go to. And then for my beard and stuff, I do all that myself.
How much do you pay for that little trim, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably, you should be going twice a year for hair like mine. But I probably go once every 18 months, and I pay about like $150.
Oh, okay. For the trim, all right. Just so you make it worth it.
Yeah, because you got to get the shape. You got to get the whole wash. She's because she does the hair, and she's also a fucking... like a hair doctor, so she'll tell me how you've been putting too much product in. Try this product to like see what.
Interesting. So you're like a hair pro at this point.
Yes,
you think?
Yes. I could start a page right now, and it's something that I'm looking at doing because I don't see a lot of curly man representation. All of my shit, all of my shit is I get from ladies with way nicer hair than mine. But
so I mean, throughout my whole life, I've been probably like at anywhere from like a 2 to 4 haircut a year kind of guy. Like I would just let it grow long, and then maybe at one point I would just be like, all right, I'm super uncomfortable. I'm gonna buzz it.
Yeah, facts.
But I mean, it's never really been I got to get my hair cut like every 3 weeks. Like that's how much the barber wants you to come in and see them. Like, to get a good visit, get a good haircut, you got to visit your barber every 3 weeks, which I'm not doing. I feel like I like get it long and then buzz it, get it long, buzz it.
Yeah, barbers want us to make such a toxic relationship with them. Like, yo, you want to go outside like that? Damn, I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend you do that before you come and see me. I think like if you want to look good, you should probably come back in.
And the thing is, I think most guys probably our age are getting a haircut at least every 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, a lot, especially like I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of my homies do it almost every week now, because just especially if they're working corporate, like just to stay sharp. And then it does. I do remember getting shape ups and tape ups and fades and like feeling so much better than I felt. Like I feel like my eyes were greener when I got a haircut. I just felt like everything was better.
So when I used to wake up with long hair, there would be, I'd say probably at least 4, maybe sometimes 5 days out of the week where like during the summer I'd be like, yo, this is freaking annoying. I just want to buzz my head. How often do you feel that way?
I never feel that way because I'm used to it. I do know sometimes I'm like, yo, I'm hot. And sometimes I wake, like I have to build an extra hour into my day. Not that it takes an hour to do my hair, but just to make sure. Because like today, I haven't washed my hair since last like Thursday. So like my hair is a little bit drier now, so I gotta like. But I had to decide. I was like, am I gonna wash it before this podcast, or can I make it work? And I made it work. So I don't decide to cut it.
Okay, so you didn't wash it. We had Molly Kornfeld, female comic, on the podcast. She asked me as soon as she came in. She was like, "So I have a question. I was hot as F today. It was like one of these humid days." She's like, "Ted, how often do you wash your hair?" And I told her that like until I was in 8th grade, like end of 8th grade, I was washing my hair with Head and Shoulders probably every single day. I was in the shower, and then apparently the middle school principal was like telling me how boys are not supposed to condition their hair. I don't know if I should have listened to her or whatever.
I think that's crazy.
But then like on top of that, I had no idea how much like guys I feel like don't get any direction on how to treat their hair. It's kind of like, I don't want to say taboo, but besides us just getting it cut and getting a good fade or shape, guys really never talk about their hair.
Toxic masculinity really picks the weirdest hills to die on. They're like, yo, if you condition your hair, you're a bitch. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Any sort of primping, I feel like. The pedicures, manicures. I've gotten maybe 2 manicures in my life. I always invited them. I got to get more. And then I've never gotten a pedicure.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'm open to it, but I bite my shit.
Yeah, apparently you ever put the like Dwayne Reed stuff on it that tastes like shit?
No, that's smart.
I've got to do that.
My whole thing is if LeBron James bites his nails, I'm biting my nails. You know what I'm saying? saying? Like,
Yeah,
he
he
bites his
does
nails
bite
and he's
them.
great, so I'm gonna bite my nails too. That's what I tell everybody. That's what I'm going with. But like pedicure, I be with, but I just like my nails. They taste delicious, bro. I don't
All
know
right, man.
what
So
it is.
let's talk about your life. Let's start from the beginning. How
Okay.
you got into comedy, where
Okay.
you grew up, and we
yeah.
see you all over. So let us know.
Bet. All right, so me, I'm born and raised in New York. I grew up in Long Island, Valley Stream, New York. Stand up, that's what's up.
Oh, did you go to Valley Stream High School?
Valley Stream Central, yeah.
Okay,
Valley
I
Stream Central.
knew a couple kids because I played tennis competitively like throughout high school.
Oh,
so,
are
like,
you
there were
from
a lot
Long
of
Island
good-
too?
No, I'm from Manhattan, but like I
Okay.
would go out to those tournaments all the
Yeah.
time. I play kids like I'm not sure if you're familiar, like Dennis Zlobinski, Bert Van Cura. These guys who like went
Maybe.
to Columbia,
Okay.
Fairfield, just
For, like,
guys
tennis.
who good guys who played like college tennis at a high level. So I'm familiar with a lot of high schools. in
Word,
Long
word,
Island.
yeah.
But
Long
anyway,
Island's got a
continue.
big tennis scene for whatever reason. But yeah, I grew up in Long Island in Valley Stream, and I went to St. John's, and that's when I moved to Queens, and I've been in Queens ever since. And comedy was a long, weird journey, right? So like, I used to make funny Snapchat stories like when I was in college, because that was like that was my way to get girls to reach out to me first. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt thirsty, like trying to DM girls.
Wait,
and
but
talk
would you
to them.
fire out like the same one to multiple girls?
So like no. So I would just make stories, right? Like funny Snapchat stories. Like I put things that just made people laugh, and the way that I would get girls to talk to me is like, oh my god, that's so funny. Be like, yeah, what are you doing Friday?
Dude,
though?
fuck, I remember
You know what I'm
that.
saying? Like,
I wish that was still a thing.
Yeah,
Or
that
maybe
was-
it is for you, but like other
for me,
people, the
yeah.
younger generation still uses it. But like I remember, yeah, like beginning of college, like that was hot. That was the thing to do.
and that was like that because I've always been like super self-conscious about approaching people first, because I always feel awkward when I know I want something. Like if I want to get to know this girl, she can't know that I want to get to know her, so I feel weird. So the way that I would break that barrier was through like making people laugh. So I did that in college, and then I had a friend who was dating the assistant of Cypher Sounds, you know, the DJ
Yeah,
Cypher
yeah.
Sounds. So Cypher Sounds, right? This is weird ass story, right? So I had a friend who was dating Cypher Sounds assistant, and she was telling him how, you know, she's looking for comedians because Cypher's casting this MTV2 show that he's working on. And my friend was like, oh, I have a friend he doesn't do comedy, but he's a funny dude. I think you would be good for it. And then long story short, he put me in contact with this girl. I sent this girl like some Snapchat stories that I had to say. She's like, cool, I'll show you this to Cypher. If you like some, we'll get you an audition. I was like, cool, I wasn't expecting nothing from it. And then she was like, yo, Cypher, thought they were funny. Here's a packet. Like, we want you to come in tomorrow for this audition for the show called Joking Off. I don't know if you remember.
I remember that.
It
I
was
remember that.
some-
How many years ago was this?
This was 2015, 2016.
Was your hair short at the time?
Hair was short. Actually, I might have been like, you know, short on the sides, but like long on top. I think that's what I was, short on the sides, long on top, like with a little top knot. That's what it's called. Kind of like how Leo has his shit now, but mine is.
Yeah,
you
I
know
was
how
thinking
Leo
like
is?
Leo has it like really short.
Yeah, super
here
short
and
here,
then
but
top
super
to
long
top.
up there. But mine was like a little shorter than that, and I had no tattoos on my head, obviously. But that's how my hair was then. And then I went into this audition, and it's the first time that I'd ever done anything like, you know, show
Entertainment
business,
related?
entertainment related. Like I thought I was funny, but I never thought of it professionally.
Well, just quickly, did you do like school plays or
Nope.
stuff like that? Ever?
No. I used to like recite Kevin Hart stand up. Like I used to love to memorize stand up, but it wasn't a thing that I ever thought that I wanted to do. So Cypher's like, oh, this shit is cool. Come do the audition. I get to the audition at like some MTV studio, and it's a lot of like, I saw randomly the only person in that room that I recognized. You ever seen the movie ATL?
Yeah.
You know the dude, they called him New York. Like the dude, he was in the audition room. I'm like, holy shit, you're that guy. And it's like,
remember.
so this is a random dude. I know he's a rapper too. I just can't remember his name. But I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I go in there, and I had been preparing jokes all night. And the way that the show was structured, like they'd show you a picture, and you basically had to come up with a funny caption for it.
So a
on the
little
spot.
improv.
Kind of, but they would give me the packet beforehand, but they would mix in stuff that I hadn't seen yet to see how good I was on my feet, right? So they're throwing pictures up, and I'm like, I had prepared really intensely because I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to look like a dickhead. So like I was like ringing jokes off, just saying funny shit, because it's basically like creating live tweets, you know what I'm saying? And then like I'm cooking. Then they put one up that I hadn't seen, and I made it like I kind of remixed the song "Lifestyle" by Young Thug and when I said that, like the room, I said that shit and the room exploded, and it was like, yo, this kid is good. So they brought me back for like a couple auditions. Like Cypher's like, yo, you're gonna get on this show. I was like, cool. I ended up meeting like Akash Singh during this. Like this is when Deezus and Mero was getting started. They was in the audition process. So like I saw a lot of people that like I'd seen on TV, and then I make it all the way to the final round of auditions, which is like the fourth round, and I bombed terribly. Right, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm way out of my depth, but I bombed terribly. I don't get on the show. But Cypher's like, yo, don't worry about it. We'll get you on next season, and like I'll fuck with you, like, because that's when he was like not starting out, but he was like getting into stand up more seriously. And then they brought me back for the next season auditions. I did the same thing, did really well, got to the final and bombed. And then Cypher's like, yo, don't worry about it. Come to my studio in Jersey and like help write. We're gonna write sketches. We're gonna write jokes. It's gonna be cool. So I went to Jersey, and that's where I met you know Julio Diaz?
Yeah.
So I met Julio Diaz, his man's Julio Rivera, Trinidad, and this dude Evan and this dude Tone. We all met at Cypher. I met them at Cypher Studio, and then from there on, that's where Julio was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy." That was like 5 years ago, 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. And from then, Julio was like pedal to the metal, like, and he's one of the biggest in the city right now. And me, when I got there, I was too nervous, like still not really knowing if stand-up was my thing, if I wanted to be writing. And then for at the same amount of time Julio was doing it, I was like in and out, like going to mics. I'd have a good mic, I'd go back the next day. I had a bad mic, I wouldn't go back for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And then it wasn't until late 2019, early 2020 that I was like, yo, I'm going to mics every single day.
Well, between the season 1 and season 2, and then I guess you went 3 times to Joking Off?
The 2 times of Joking Off between season 2 and season 3.
So in between those 2 times, were you like at mics trying to write material?
I was at mics sparingly, like still nervous, like nervous to be bad still.
Bro,
you know
it's freaking
it's
crazy.
Such a weird thing.
Like those first 5 mics, it's really rare to hear somebody do 5 mics in the 5 consecutive weeks. You know what I mean? Like just the beginning, it's tough.
Facts. And I don't know how it was for you when you found it. And I'm sure like I would love to hear it. For me, it was like, I don't know why I felt so much pressure. You know what I'm saying? And like now the type of comedian that I feel like I am, like I look back at who I was a couple years ago, I'm like, oh, you just didn't understand that it doesn't matter if you do the best of the work. It's just, you have to go. And the only way you're going to get better is you keep going, and it took me years to realize that. So I was bullshitting for like 5, 6 years until like 2020. I was like, yo, fuck it. I'm going all in. Like, I'm going to go to a mic every day. Started getting booked on shows, pandemic, and I was like, fuck. And then I was in a relationship at the time, and my then girlfriend knew Max from college, Max Mantikoff, and he saw through her page that I like had a couple stand-up pictures up like from mics and shit. He was like, yo, I'm bringing my show to New York. I want him on it because I don't know nobody out there, and I feel like it'll be fun. So I bought every person that I ever knew to the park, Athens Square in Astoria. We packed it out. It was like, it had to be 100 people out there.
And that was for a Street Talk comedy show?
The first Street Talk comedy show in New York. It was crazy. I have video, like Jared Waters has a really good video up on his page from that show. It was like a fucking theater. It was crazy. And it was my first show. I brought everybody that I know. And I don't think Max knew it was my first show because I didn't want to, be embarrassed, and I didn't want him to take me off. So I'm following Jared Waters. As Jared Waters on stage, Jared Waters, is a fucking killer. He's one of the best in the city. So this is my first show. He's going, and as he's up, the mic cuts out, right? So the mic cuts out, and there's like mad we're in a New York park, so there's mad kids like, oh, y'all are fucking trash. They're throwing basketballs from the court at Jared. It's crazy. But like the show comes together, Jared rocks it for like 15 minutes, and then I go after Jared, and it's my first show, and I was supposed to do 10. I ended up doing 15, just like spitfiring every joke that I've ever come up with, and it was so much fun. Like I was very lucky that show went well.
Dude, also doing 15 on your first show is wild.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. I was just like, yo, I'm writing down
the zone.
I'm saying everything that I've ever prepared. And like it went well for me, well enough for me. I'm sure if I watch that set now, there's a lot of things I would not like. There's many jokes I don't say anymore. But it went well. Max was like, yo, this is great. Come to my next one. And then from there, me and Max just stayed a little team. We've been doing Street Talk ever since, and it's been comedy, all the time now.
Was there like a show that you went to, maybe in Manhattan and Astoria, during the times that you were doing open mics, where you were like, all right, that guy's not that great. All right, maybe that guy's not that great. I can go up there and do just as well as him.
So I never really had that moment when I was doing mics, because I feel like not a problem, but I had comedy on too high of a pedestal. Like comedy is an art, and I love it and I appreciate it, but I think it's important especially for comedians, to take it off of that pedestal. Like, oh, you gotta, like, only certain people can do it. No, anybody can try comedy. I don't believe everybody can be great, but I think the beauty of comedy and what makes the people that make it so special is that it is a thing that everybody thinks that they can do. You know what I'm saying? So like, I encourage everybody to try that shit. Everybody do it, and that's what's gonna set you apart. Like, I don't get mad if I see like a TikTok star with 100,000 followers getting a spot that I've tried to been grind for, because if we're going to be on the same show, that's great. I want it in my head. I'm going to show you the difference between somebody like that and somebody
that's
like
also an interesting dynamic that we're seeing now, I guess, since shows really came back from the pandemic. It's like you see these TikTok influencers or whatever, maybe on Instagram, they'll have like 150,000, 250,000 followers. They'll be selling out the Wall Street Theater in Connecticut, but then, they're not really on house shows in the city and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to navigate when you have such a big following, and then you're like, okay, now I want to try and get into stand-up, when you're able to put out your TikTok following and be like, hey, come to the show that I'm doing in New York City. 100 people will come, and then maybe you're not prepared for that. When in comedy, like, just for years and years, it's been you build your base. Now you have the stand-up crowd that you're ready to go.
Yeah, facts. And with those types of influencers and people, I always encourage them, try the shit, do the shit. The only thing that makes it hard, if you're promoting it, like, and you have a big following that will actually come out, you're not gonna get better because you're performing in front of your people over and over. Like, a benefit that we have, I don't know how you feel about, your following, but like for me, I know that nobody cares what the fuck I'm doing right now. So if I want to take a chance, I can take a chance. Like I'm learning the hard way, and like over time, you're going to see that hopefully that like all the things that I was building when nobody was watching made me better and ready for the moment when I make people watch.
That's almost just like how everyone, I feel like for the most part, is that gets into comedy. You know, it's like you kind of slowly move into, careful with that. It's all good. You slowly get into the open mics, takes you a while to get comfortable in the mics. Then you start getting those producer shows, you start getting the house shows, then maybe you start doing your own show. But I think for the most part, you tell me how you feel about it. But like when I do the Ted Jones comedy show, like my nervousness level is the most down as it would be compared to any other show.
Yeah, because it's your show.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just, I kind of feel like I don't have time to feel nervous. Do you kind of feel that way when you do your show?
Yeah, with my shows, I'm never nervous anymore because those are the shows that I want to take the chances on. So like with Street Talk and even with Bodega Kids sometimes, like we'll take turns headlining it and doing a long set at the end. So like it could be one day where I'm hosting and then Lisa's headlining with 20 or Matt is headlining with 30. And like we give ourselves the space to, because you don't get that time a lot in New York City, that big, that long
20
time.
20 or 30, no.
20, 30,
never.
it's insane. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I do like about having shows is that you give yourself that opportunity, which in New York is very difficult to do. So that's something that I've built with Max and with Lisa and with Matt, that like whenever we want to take those chances, because none of us, it's our people, it's our show, that's where we want to take chances. We don't care what other comics are saying. Nobody from the big clubs is watching us when we're doing our shows. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I love that. I appreciate that. And that's like, that's invaluable experience.
You talk about how it's hard to do like 20, 30 minutes on a city show. Absolutely so. But I've seen you've gone to places like Albany. Is that a kind of place where you would do more extended time, like 20, 30?
Yeah, when Max has brought Street Talk to Albany and I've gone with him, I've been able to do 20 there and stretch a little bit, which is fun because like I said, like in New York, that time for somebody like me where I'm in my career, that's very hard to come by. Somebody giving you that time. Besides, there's a couple shows like Venti Comedy that Trina Alper runs, where she
just do like 20 minutes each.
Three comics get 20-minute sets, and that's like one of the only shows that I know off the top of my head that gives those long sets. So that's why I like Bodega Kids and Street Talk, is that when we want to take that time, we can make it ourselves. Be like, yo, this show I'm running because I have shit that I want to work on, and we're like, yo, bet, like we'll set it up for you, we'll host it, we'll fucking fill the place out, and that's the shit that I think has been the most pivotal to my growth, is having my own shows and being able to be comfortable and take chances that I wouldn't take on other people.
Because it also gives you a huge opportunity to host one, which people don't always do. You know, like you said, kind of just like try shit out, riff, crowd work, whatever. How much time are you comfortable on stage now? Somebody who's like, all right, JC, go do as much time as you
as like, if I'm honest, like I mean, I don't know who's gonna watch this. I want to project comedy, be like, I can do an hour right now.
Everyone, bro,
you know
everyone's fucking gonna watch it. He's doing an hour.
Funny Bone, book me, everybody. Come on. But like realistically, I'm doing like a scheduled 30 for the first time this Friday.
Where at?
At St. Mark's at 8 o'clock. It's a Bodega Kids show. It's going to be kind of like my birthday show. And I'm doing 30 minutes for the first time, and I'm going to like empty the clip, like say everything that I've ever come up with. I hope it's
shout that out, by the way. This is being released. Today is Friday, but we'll post that. But you're doing it this Thursday?
It's this Friday, July 22nd.
My bad, bro. This is being released Thursday, so shout it out, please.
This Friday, July 22nd, which is tomorrow, 9 o'clock at St. Mark's Comedy Club is going to be Bodega Kids Comedy. Myself, Lisa Lennis, Matthew Arevalo. We got a great lineup. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm doing 30 minutes for my 30th birthday. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, love it, bro. Yeah, 30th birthday.
It's cool, man.
What does that make you? What are you? What do you do zodiac signs?
I'm not big on zodiac. I know the Chinese, I'm the year of the monkey. I know that for Chinese New Year. I don't know how big that is with astrology, but I'm year of the monkey, born in 92, and I'm gonna be 30. I'm hyped about it, man.
Let's talk about growing up in Astoria. You spend, I guess, your whole life in Queens going to St. John's. Was there a particular reason you went to St. John's?
So for me, I actually grew up in Long Island, right? I grew up in Valley Stream, but the fun thing about where I grew up is that my town was like, it was like the first town in Long Island. Like it's on the border of Queens and Long Island. So like literally half of my street is Queens, the other half is Long Island. So I'm from Valley Stream, I'm from Long Island, but growing up in Long Island, you're not allowed to be from Long Island. You got to be from somewhere else. Like people that are born in Long Island to Long Island people are losers. So I used to tell everybody I live here, but I'm from Astoria. Never. You know what I'm saying? I have a grandmother that lives there. That's my parents grew up, but I'm Long Island through and through. But I've always been back and forth with Queens. But I went to St. John's because my older sister Tara got a full scholarship to play soccer there.
Oh wow,
and,
dope.
Yeah, so I used to go watch all her games, and I just fell in love with the campus, and I was like, I want to go here too.
We played them in tennis. They were always really good.
Oh,
They had a few like European guys who. The thing is with tennis, like when you go to college to play tennis, it almost means that your chances of going pro are very slim. It's not like football or basketball where you go to college, you get the scholarship, and then you go to the league.
It's a natural progression.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
With tennis, they want you to be pro from a young age.
Like the 18 and 19-year-olds who are in Europe, they're already thinking about going pro. They're not thinking about going to college.
That's how it is. That's how I feel like it is for soccer too.
Yeah, soccer too
any
as well.
Good American prospect,
like those club teams or stuff like that. So
no great American soccer players in college.
Exactly, bro. Remember Freddie Adu? Oh my God, like the 14-year-old female.
He was supposed to change the world.
He fell off when he was like 17 or 18.
They put way too much pressure on that boy.
Way too much,
He didn't have the time, the space to grow. I'm sure he was talented, but
that's what happened with this guy, Donald Young. So this kid, Donald Young, he was a lefty from Georgia. He was 15 years old. He won the Orange Bowl, which is like the biggest junior international tournament, 18 and under. So he's 15 years old playing pro tournaments. Maybe when he was 17, he was like 350 in the world, and then like slowly was kind of around that point, got up to like 40 in the world, but then now that he's like around our age, he's kind of nothing, which is a sad thing.
It sucks, but it's America. I feel like especially they want to find that next young American talent so fast, because like when you look at these sports like that can be dominated by other countries like tennis or like soccer, they want to be like no, we're like that too, because basketball we dominate, baseball we're up there, football we're the only country that pretty much plays the barbaric sport. Like we want to be at the forefront of everything athletic, so to the point where in the sports that we're not necessarily the strongest, we will reach and be like, yo, this guy at 12 years old, I can tell you that he's better than whoever the fuck you have over
like
there.
some of the kids who I was gonna say like playing at St. John's were freaking nasty. These kids are probably 900, 1,000 in the world when they were coming to St. John's, and like sound like saying that out loud might not sound that good, but if you're 900 or 1,000, like in the NBA, you're like one of the best players in Europe. You're one of the best players in the Central Football League, something like that.
Word.
So we used to play them. Their home court was at the National Tennis Center at the U.S. Open site.
Oh shit!
So it was always dope to play them. Like we'd occasionally win one or two matches, but like they were always a solid team in the Big East.
What's the biggest tournament you ever played in as a tennis player? And where'd you go to school, by the way?
Interesting question. So I played tennis at UConn, University of Connecticut.
Shit. Okay, that's what's
so they traveled to us. We traveled to St. John's. But the biggest tournament I ever played in tennis was I played in the boys 16 and under winter national tournaments in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
I ended up winning one match. And the thing about those tournaments, it was double elimination. So I won my first round match, then lost my second round match. And then in the consolation, I lost. But just winning that first round match.
That's
and then I was like top 70 in the country at that particular point. And being top 70 in the country in tennis, like, was freaking solid. Like you go to these tennis tournaments and you'd see a kid who's like top 10 in the East and you'd be like, yo, that kid's a baller. Meanwhile, the East is freaking 3 states. It's New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. And like if you were top 10 in those 3 states, like you were a serious player, maybe you'd consider going down to Florida and training at a tennis academy or Texas and something like that. And like I was super serious to the point where freshman year of high school, I actually was homeschooled for tennis.
Oh shit!
I was privately tutored, and I would leave on Thursday to go down to a tournament in Florida, and then I'd come back Monday, and then the tutor would give me the test or whatever. And I went to a professional performing arts school. It was called Professional Children's School, and I went there specifically for tennis to travel for sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. So like by the time I went to that high school though for sophomore year, I was like, all right, I kind of know that I'm not going to go pro.
I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah. Okay. But I still want to play college tennis. And then
play it as long as I can.
Yeah, man. So I ended up playing college tennis for 2.5 years, and then it was just taking way too much time. There was no real opportunity to go pro. And like UConn, we were probably at like 50 or 60 in the country. When you look at a St. John's, they are really roaming around like top 25, maybe 35, something like that, which was good. But like being at the level we were at UConn, it was like we were either getting smacked by schools like University of Florida,
like
University of Miami,
or you were
Duke,
smacking up the smaller schools.
or we were smacking up around Sacred Heart University, Fairfield, Hartford, stuff like that. So year 2.5 came around. I was like, all right, I want to focus on other things in college. Started taking acting classes, drama classes after I dropped the tennis team, and I wrote a movie script about Ryan Leaf. If you guys want to read it, you freaking let me know. TEDJONESWORLD@gmail.com. But that took me like 5 years, bro.
Yeah, man.
Now it's like an 118-page movie script. But I just found like other ways in terms of like entertainment, performance, and stuff that I really wanted to be involved in. I was a journalism major, so I had my own show at UConn.
That's what's up.
So playing tennis got me to UConn, and I think like it's now a great sport and it's fun. I could play for like the rest of my life.
I feel like the way that the things that we pick up in our youth, like for you, it was tennis. Like for you, at one point, I'm sure like tennis is life. Like this is the only thing I'm ever gonna do. And I was like that. I was like that with baseball. And it's crazy.
I picked between tennis and baseball, by the way, when I was 12.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. That's such a crazy decision to make when you're so young. It's nuts. But like, it's like they put so much pressure. Even just
dude, I won MVP, and you know Max is over there, Peter Cooper, or whatever. I won that MVP in that Little League, Peter Stuyvesant Little League.
Oh shit!
And then that weekend, I went to Nike tennis camp.
That's
so it was like right there where I had to make the decision. It was just a nuts decision for a 12-year-old to make.
It is what it is. And I will say, like, baseball put me in the same space where like I was chasing baseball so much. That's one of the reasons I went to St. John's, because I wanted to walk onto the team, which I ended up doing, but only for like half of the season.
Were you on like the practice squad?
I made the fall team, the fall roster, and then for the spring roster, they had to make roster cuts, and I didn't make.
Well, I know that like spring, that's when like the actual games are. But what's the difference between?
So fall is like it's like preseason baseball. Like we would inter squad games, pretty much inter squad games, practice. No real road travel. It's just everything that happens before you start traveling for the season. So I got to be with like some guys that like ended up in the major leagues, which was really fucking cool.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I like. Who did you ever play against anybody that's like pro now? That's like still big.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There wasn't really. I remember I played a little bit of travel baseball when I was like 11 and 12, and like we went to Westchester. We saw some of the teams that ended up making it to Williamsport,
right.
those Harlem teams, but I haven't really kept up with them. Maybe there's some guys.
What about for tennis? Like anybody that
MLB?
you played against in tennis that's like, oh man, this guy's still doing it.
Yeah, so there was a kid who I played in doubles who was ended up being like 50 in the world in singles. And then there was another kid who played in the same tournament as me, Dennis Kudla, who ended up being like 50 in the world in singles. But my biggest win in tennis was against Noah Rubin. I was 16 years old. He was 12 years old, and he played in the 16 and under East tournament. Like, bro, my serves were hitting the court and just bouncing over him. He's like,
he's just so small.
And now he's like 130 in the world. So like anytime I would see like him or his coach, I'd be like, yo, I got that W over you.
Hey, you guys are fucking trash.
Dude, like tennis, if there's a kid who is now, like even the guy, okay, for example, Stevie Johnson, who I played years ago. He was like 3 years older than me. We had the same tennis coach. So he was kind of doing my tennis coach a favor. He played 2 out of 3 sets with me, beat me 6-2, 6-2, which in tennis, you know, it's pretty handily. But he won the team title at University of Southern California 4 years in a row. Wow. And he won the individual title, like the singles championship, 2 years in a row. And he won 72 matches in a row. But his highest ranking on the tour, it was like 25. He hasn't broke the top 25, which is insane, mind-boggling to me. Dude, he was the best college tennis player of all time. Like, people will not break that, I don't think, ever. And a guy who is that sick and now is like 70 in the world consistently, it's just a crazy freaking sport.
That's nuts, man. Yeah, tennis is the thing about tennis. It's always, it's like it's one-on-one, man. It is mano-y-mano. So like those rankings, like the way I think of ranks, like, oh, you know, to be top 25 in the country as a team is like a beautiful thing, but to be top 25 as a player, like, it's like, yo, that's so on me. Like, granted, you have coaches and shit, but that's very much on you. So it's
but like, even if you are top 25 in like NCAA, man, like you, like, let's say you're a senior, you're 25 in the country in singles, you try and go play pro tournaments, you're starting one at the very low level. So it goes futures, challengers, 250 events, 500 events, 1,000 events, then Grand Slams, which is the US Open, Wimbledon, whatever. So to win a match in that future tournament on the ground level, like, you have to be top 800 in the world. And those kids who are 25 in the country in singles, that maybe they're around there. Maybe they're around 700, 800. Because those kids who are top 25 in the country, or they would be if they went to college, they're 22 years old, they're training in Spain, and they have been for the past 4 years.
Yeah,
like professionally training. So like baseball obviously is an insane way to get to the top also, because when you first get drafted, they put you usually in like single A, right?
Yeah, you
like
go to single A, you go to rookie league, then you go to single A, then double. Like, there's like 4 different levels of minor league baseball that you got to rise through to get to the top.
And and you have to be hot the whole time.
The good thing that I do like about baseball, though, like people that you'll see like that make it to the MLB, like there's professional talent in Division III baseball. There's professional talent in JUCO. Like basketball, you don't really see that. Like people coming from D3 to go to the NBA. Or you see it, but it's super rare. But baseball, that happens all the time. Like just somebody that figured it out late and is like, oh, this guy is like, and they'll just rise up. It's crazy.
You rarely see that in a football situation.
Yeah,
maybe somebody could be potentially like a defensive tackle. Yeah. Maybe they gain 50 pounds, they improve their 40, they're more flexible. Maybe that's the situation.
That's why when you see it, it's like, oh, this guy, he's a walk-on and now he's a scholarship, but he's still a fucking like he's still at Alabama. You know what I'm saying?
Like tennis, bro, that would never happen.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I remember, I think it was the second round of the Big East tennis tournament. We were playing Louisville at University of South Florida. We played them in the team event. And like when you go up against a team like Louisville, all the kids on the team were top 50 in the country in juniors. And like all the kids on our team were maybe top 300 in the country of juniors. So like you knew right away that like all of us had to win. And that was just not, maybe one of us would get lucky and win. But like a circumstance like that, it would just be like tennis is a sport that like you're fucking good. You're at a high level. You really wouldn't be losing to somebody at this kind of level just because it's shot by shot by shot, which maybe I can say it could be the same for golf. I don't know, you golfers out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's every freaking shot. And a guy who's on tour probably wouldn't lose to a guy who is having a great day.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. What do you think is more difficult, or what's been more difficult for you, tennis or comedy?
It's funny you say that. I just don't think I ever took tennis as serious as I should, man. I had a lot handed to me. I will say, like, my parents were just, when it came to tennis, my parents were like, here you go. Like anything I kind of wanted to do, I was like, oh, I want to go play on this particular day at this tennis academy in New York. Sure, whatever. I want to go to this tournament in Long Island. Sure, whatever. Just like I was spoiled to the fact that I was able to play tennis so much. And being in New York, it's tough sometimes to play tennis because you can imagine the court time, the fees. When somebody who's in Florida, they go out and they're there for, they're just there on the corner for hours at a time. But I just don't think I took tennis as seriously mentally, and I think that's just because
you were so young.
I was freaking young, bro. I had no idea. I was like, I want to train hard. I want to do this. But then there'd be hours in a day, multiple hours in a week where I just did not give a shit. And I was just like, all right, whatever. I'd be flirting with girls on court 4. I'd be on court 1. So it was like, I think that tennis, since the day I was like, took it on full time and I was like, I really want to do this, I've been focused and like in wanting to do it, you know, I've been passionate about it too. So I'd say tennis was harder for me back then, and emotionally, man, I used to get so pissed on the court too.
Facts. No,
be
me too.
throwing my stick and whatever.
I was the same way. I used to cry almost every time I struck out up until I was like,
like
16, bro. I cried so much.
What position were you?
I was an outfielder, so I played center and left.
So you played on the high school team?
Yeah, I played in high school. I played a little bit in college. I almost actually transferred from St. John's to a smaller school called Concordia, because that was like the only school that like actively wanted me to come. Yeah, it's like it's up in Bronxville, and they like actively wanted me to come play. They were going to give me like scholarship money.
Oh wow!
And I had to make a decision, like if I'm going to leave. Like, and at St. John's, that's when I had just met, you know, all the friends that I'm still close with today. I ended up meeting the friend that, you know, we've done movies and stuff together. And the friend who ended up putting me onto the girl that knew Cypher Sound. So like if I would have made a different decision, I wouldn't necessarily be here.
When did Concordia show interest in you?
That was 2011. That was my sophomore year of college. Because like I would still play summer ball and I would be pretty good. And they'd be like, yo, you're not going to, like, you can maybe make it at St. John's, but you could definitely come here, play. And like there's an actual route to whatever you want from baseball at the school, because you can play here. And you're not going to get that at St. John's. So I had to make a decision, like, did I think keeping the dream of baseball alive was more important than whatever I thought, because I didn't even know what I was building at St. John's, but like I just knew that the people I was around was special. So I had to make a decision, like, am I going to keep going for baseball, or am I going to just stay and see what this is that I'm finding? And I ended up staying, and I think it was one of the biggest decisions that I've ever made without knowing it.
Well, how close were you to, you know, going to meet Concordia? Were you like filling out papers or no?
I took an official visit. I, you know, looked at classes. I talked to people on the team. It's just the school was just so small. And like St. John's is not a huge school like on campus, but like there's so many students, there's so many people, like, and I created a nice little corner of it for myself where I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And yeah, Concordia, I just didn't think that I was going to have the same experience, and I feared that I was going to regret choosing baseball over the experience that I felt was really special.
It's a great decision on your part.
Yeah, it ended up being a great decision, and I think it's perfect, because I feel now I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to. And I was good at baseball, but I definitely was not mentally strong enough to be a pro. Like I was so high strung, I was like I wanted to do well so badly that I couldn't. Like failure is such a big part of baseball, and I couldn't take it. That's why it took me so long to get into stand-up. Okay. Because failure's a part of stand-up too.
Bro, I think I kind of had the same mindset too, when I was just like so close to so many good tennis players. They were playing at the same tennis academy, kids who were top 10 in the East. I was like, I want to be top 10 in the East. Like, I want to be number 1 in the country. And I don't want to give an excuse for myself. I've told you guys so many times on here, but I just realistically did not start tennis at an age where a lot of kids in Europe and a lot of kids in Florida and those other states where they can play full year round started when they were 4 or 5 years old. And the difference difference between starting 4 or 5 years old and starting at 10 or 11 years old is that when you try and lift the tennis racket, when you were 4 or 5 years old, your technique is already there. You're lifting from the hips, and then afterwards your arm is following, you know, as opposed to when I'm 10 years old, I'm like, oh, I want to hit this ball hard. All right, let's put this arm back and then smack it all with my arm. When you're 4 or 5 years old, you're moving from the core, naturally flowing.
You're growing as a person who understands the technique. So like things come innately to you at the preteen age that somebody's still learning, like somebody like that picks it up later still learning.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you're 4 or 5 years old, you're not thinking about hitting the ball as hard as you can.
You're just a sponge.
And you're thinking about moving those hips and really grooving with the ball. So I mean, tennis was definitely a huge life lesson for me, especially since the amount of time that I put into it. And I saw myself not getting what I wanted to get out of it. I think that maybe that was kind of it made my comedy career kind of start slowly.
Yo, I feel the same exact way.
So you know Giulio Gallerati, right?
With the dude
Giulio, not Julio.
Yeah,
so by the way, guys, opening for Giulio. If you're in Boston this Sunday, Crystal Ballroom. I'll put the freaking link right here.
Oh, that's what's up. Congratulations,
yeah, man, that'll be dope.
Mad fun.
So I ended up. He was my tennis coach, bro. When I was 12 years old.
That's crazy.
He was like 17, 18 years old, teaching at this summer country club. He went to Boston University. He played tennis at Boston University. Was looking for a summer gig. Got this gig in Long Island. So I was a junior there. I was like the best junior in this club, and he would play with me all the time. And then once he graduated college, when he was like 22 or 23, he moved to the city, started working in a real estate job for like a year, and then he got more involved in comedy. Once I graduated college, like I would follow him around to almost every show for years, for 3 or 4 years, man. Like I wouldn't go up. I would just go. I'd bring some dates sometimes. I'd be drinking in the crowd, just watching him, following him. He'd be like, you want to come to this show? I would just go around. I'd watch him. And then I wanted to get involved in the performing arts in some, I don't know, attachment or whatever.
You just didn't know what
the man. Was. So I had my show at UConn. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. I took a lot of improv at UConn. So I got involved in UCB. I still have the Herald sign hanging over there.
I see
and I took 101, 201, 301, 401, loved it. And a few years passed by. I was working at my dad's company in real estate, kind of had everything on a fucking platter. So I was like, why not just stick in with real estate? I like it. It's cool. 2 or 3 years went by. I was like, this is not for me. So I started taking improv more seriously. Then the pandemic hit.
Yeah, man.
And at that point, I was like, all right, I need to switch something. And you know, UCB freaking closed down. So that's not even an option anymore.
I think it's opening back up, but it's still closed.
I heard that as well. But like besides that, I was just like, I want to perform more. So started the podcast, started doing the vlogs relatively recently. But like, I think just the switch for me was seeing Giulio do it so much, and I finally built up enough courage because like he had the show called Fat Baby. It was at a bar called Fat Baby, and they also had it at the Stand years ago. And there would be maybe a handful of times I used to go up and do 5 minutes, but like I'd go up in my suit after work, you know, nothing serious. I'd be wasted. I didn't remember my set, but I think just slowly seeing it firsthand and me being in the audience and then kind of developing my confidence where I would see other people on stage and be like, oh, I could potentially do as well as they just did, whether I would bomb or whatever. And then I went to open mics, and like you, I'd go to one open mic and then maybe four months later I go, maybe I'd do somebody's show. I'd do something that would give me the kind of adrenaline that we all get when we're on stage. And then I just slowly started to follow that. And then once the pandemic came, like once we started to do shows more so, I did the Ted Jones comedy show at Asylum over here.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we've just been doing more and more shows, and then I've just become more comfortable over like the last 2 years.
That's amazing, man. I love that. That Giulio show, that's crazy. That's such a
You're
crazy
the
story.
only person who's really freaked out about it. When I think it's the craziest story of all time. He was my tennis coach.
That's really insane. Because we were talking about like the way that, you know, sports somehow, you know, shapes your life. And that's a beautiful thing. That's such a crazy way to meet somebody that's so influential in your life that you never realized.
Massively influential.
Shout out to Giulio, man. That's what's up. That's hilarious. Holy shit, that's crazy. Yeah. So what Giulio is for you, that's who I felt like Julio was for me. Like I never followed him around, but like I always kept up with his journey.
Is he the same age as us?
I think Julio might be younger. Like I don't know how old you are. I think Julio's
30.
like,
I'm 30.
Yeah, Julio. I want to say he's 27, 26, 27. He's a little bit younger, but yeah, he's a beast, man. But yeah, just watching, like keeping up with him on socials and all of his homies that I met, like. I was like, damn, Julio's like moving up. And when I started, by the time I like got on shows with Julio, I was like, oh, he's been working. And so Julio, I feel like Julio and well, actually almost a lot of people do, but like Julio and Arevalo, I feel like I'm like, yo, I'm always looking at their backs. I'm like, yo, that's who I'm trying to keep up with. And like, cause Matt started, you know, have you met Matt before? You know Matt, right? Matt
I met him when I came to St. Mark's.
So, okay, exactly. So Matt been doing comedy since he was 15, right? He's 21. So he's like almost 9 years younger than me, but he is so much farther ahead in his understanding of comedy than I am. So like I watch, like, cause that's how you were saying, like somebody picks up a tennis racket at 4 and they have a different opportunity to grow. Like, cause they're growing as a person, but they're also fluid because they know they're just innate. That's how I look at Matt in comedy. I'm like, oh my God, bro, you don't even realize that. Like, he's fucking 15. He's 21 now.
I think like exactly how you're saying. You know, somebody going up at 15 and learning the ropes is different than somebody going up at 25 learning the ropes. You're like 25 learning the ropes. You're like, all right, what's the funniest fucking thing I can say right now? Yeah, shit, there's a pause. I gotta say something. You have different mental blocks that stop you. So that's why it's always so much fun for me to watch Matt, because this is somebody that's grown with comedy. So he's becoming a man as he's becoming a better comic every day. So it's like I watch him and I'm like, I love seeing.
I'm like, oh man, I love being around people like that, and I feel that way about Lisa, and I feel that way about Max, and like just watching them, like, because they all do different things way better than me. So having those people around has been such a blessing, where I'm like, all right, I want to take Lisa's timing on this one. I want to take Matt's comfortability. I want to take Max's tags, like not his physical tags, but like Max write a joke, tag. Like, and I see all of those things and I'm like, all right, it's like being in the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, he's doing pull-ups, I'm going to do them too. I don't want to get left back. So that's been really cool. Yeah,
like that'll make you look a little bit better if I start to do some pull-ups. All right, I'll start to do some pull-ups.
Because it's like you don't want to get left behind, and I hope they see me working and they're like, yo, we got to keep up. And that's been the fun thing I feel about, not that we're all in a pandemic class, but like comedians that I look around and consider peers, like I feel like we're all, like, especially the ones who rose a little bit higher during the pandemic, because that was a crazy time for comedy. I look around at them and they're like, oh, they're all hungry. That's the difference. Like, they're fucking starving.
What kind of stuff were you doing during the pandemic? Were you doing Zoom shows?
So yeah, I had Zoom shows, park shows. I was on training day a lot with Jared Waters. We was doing shows in the snow, running late with Cab Washington. I know you had Cab used to throw a show in Brooklyn and Bushwick that was on like the most hectic street corner in New York. Like it was right on the corner of East New York. It
was
like,
outdoors?
Yeah, outdoors. Wow. It was fucking
East New York on Bushwick Avenue?
Bro, I was hosting, I can't remember exactly what avenue. It's called Treasure Lee Lounge, but it's like it was in the fucking hood. And like I was hosting his show like through fucking ambulances. And I remember the funniest thing, I was hosting his show the day after DMX died. So mad people just riding through, bumping DMX. It was insane. And I have like, there's so many shows like that was happening during the pandemic. That was like, it felt like training with a weighted vest, you know, like being in a cryogenic chamber, like, yo, with the zero gravity from Dragon Ball Z type shit. Like, yo, whatever we're doing now, it's going to be times 10, because I remember the first time I got into an actual room for comedy was Eastville Comedy Club.
Well, what do you mean extra room?
Like, an actual room, like a room, like a comedy club, like a room that was made to have comedy shows. And it was a small show. It was fun. But I remember the laughs that I got, they would like hit the wall and they would stand and be like, oh, this is how it's supposed to feel. I've been used to having my shit go out into the sky. So I've been working 10 times as hard for these laughs, because to make it feel like it's real laughter, you have to try a lot harder outside. So by the time I got inside, it was like taking like a fucking weighted vest off. I'm like, oh,
love that.
So
dude.
People, that's why you see like people became monsters outside. And that's why a lot of those people are starting to get those club spots now, is because they're training on a different frequency.
Was there a turning point where you were like, all right, I'm going to do this shit full time?
It was right before the pandemic. I was like, I'm going to go all in. And
did you have anything planned maybe in March or April of 2020?
I did. So I had 2 shows that I was supposed to be on. Nothing for myself, like nothing produced. I was just like, because pre-pandemic comedy was like insane to break into. Like I felt at least like meeting people was impossible, because comics can be standoffish. Like open mics, I didn't realize that from open mics it's very hard to get to shows. Like you have to go to shows to hang out. I didn't know that. So I was just at mics, and it was very rare that I meet somebody who liked me enough to give me a spot on their show from a mic. And that's just like, when you go to the mics in the city, nobody fucking watched. They would do their 5 minutes, go back to the bar. Like, it was awful. So the pandemic was an opportunity where, like, since no clubs were happening, it gave us a lot more power to throw shows, because like the Stand had no shows. New York Comedy Club they couldn't throw shows. So I feel like those produced shows that came up, like, I felt like we had some power. I was on shows with people that I had no business being on shows with. Like, I remember being on my first show with Mark Norman. I was like, that's crazy.
Where was it?
It was Street Talk. It was definitely Street Talk in an alley. But I was like, dog, like, this is insane. And like, for other people, my goal is like, I don't want you to be able to pick me out of a lineup. Like, yo, he's like, everybody was good, but you can tell he's raw. So like, just being on those shows with those people, like, put me in a different like mode. I was like, yo, I gotta keep up. So I feel like the pandemic really like was the like Sorry if you died, but this is the best thing that could happen for comedy, at least in New York. I feel like
it's crazy. Even
the whole shit up.
Dude, even to think back at that time, everyone was bugging the fuck out.
Shook the whole shit up.
Like you couldn't go anywhere in March 2020. I was in Long Island for almost 3 months. So you kind of have, I don't want to say a unique perspective, but I think you have a perspective that potentially a lot of people growing up being the funny guy in high school, funny guy in middle school, a lot of friends, you want to be funny on Snapchat. And then you kind of had this opportunity that not really came out of the blue, but came out of somewhere where you wouldn't have expected this to come. So do you have any kind of suggestions or advice to kind of get to the point where you are, where you're comfortable at multiple house shows, doing shows all over the place, traveling? Like, how'd you get to this certain point?
So I would say if I had any advice, and granted, I'm probably not the best person to listen to, but my biggest advice, especially if I always think of what I would tell myself who was younger.
Yeah, that's great.
I wish I would have done this shit when I was 22. You know what I'm saying? But my advice is you have to just do it. That's like corny, but like go to those mics. Be willing to feel like shit. Like when you feel like you're awful, it doesn't matter.
And those terrible butterflies,
whatever you're feeling like, yo, people are gonna think I'm corny. People aren't gonna think that I'm funny. People are gonna know that I'm trash. All of those things do not matter. I've seen a million comics bomb. I've seen a million comics crush. I've seen comics that I know are terrible do amazing, and I've seen comics that are Comedy Central do trash. And that's not because of anything other than it just happens sometimes. So whatever garbage feelings you feel after a mic, go back and subject yourself to it again. Comedy to me is how much are you willing to take? How low are you willing to feel to eventually? Because the more you do it, the better you get, period. Like you're not going to keep doing it and get worse. You're going to get more comfortable. You're going to be able to, like I say, be willing to feel like shit. Record everything so you can watch it back.
I think that's a big one also.
Yeah, record everything. Even if it's not physical, get a voice note, record everything. And some comics don't, and that's cool. For me, it is very important. Listen to everything you do. Go 100 times. Go as much as you possibly can. And like all the feelings of like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm corny. Don't ever listen to those. Because it doesn't matter. Even if you're garbage for like 4 years, if this is what you want to do, you will figure it out. This is like I said before, like I feel like anybody can do comedy. Not that everybody can be successful, but if in your heart that's what you want, you have to be willing to feel like shit. And then know that on the other side of it, you're gonna come out better and funnier, and that it's gonna put you in a better place. And I feel like that's what it was for me. Just be once I realized that, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad I feel. People are not looking at me like that. Like we're so caught up in ourselves that we think everybody's looking at, like nobody gives a fuck about what I'm doing. It's just about me. How much am I willing to take? How much can I feel like, damn, I fucking suck today? How often am I willing to sit with that feeling to keep going? And that's what I would say. Just don't pay attention to that feeling. If this is what you want to do, do it every day.
And don't stop, right?
Don't stop. Don't get complacent. If you bomb in front of your idol, it doesn't matter. Like they might not fuck with you, but there's so much other opportunity that you can do. Like one show is not going to kill you. One show is not going to make you. Like I've also learned that the shows that I think are going to be the shows that take me to the top, like, yo, this is the one. Those are the shows that nobody fucking cares about.
And also maybe like you're a good hanger too.
Yeah,
like, just like in terms of like hanging, maybe that particular night you might meet someone that you never thought you would have met.
Oh yeah, for comedy, I would say the hang has been big for me. It's hard to explain to people who aren't in comedy how important it is, because like you hang with somebody and it might not mean anything that day, but like next time that person sees you, they feel a level of comfort that if you end up pulling up to their show and somebody drops, like, they'll be like, oh, you want to go up? Because I need somebody. And like, they'll feel comfortable with you. And comedy is so much of it's a face game. Like people have to know you. They have to see you. They have to be confident that you can do well on stage because they've seen you in spaces. And that's happened to me before. Like one time, like one of my good friends, Simon Yu, he runs Stank Face, which was one of the best shows in New York. And he's one of my guys. Like we chilled a bunch of times. Like we've talked writing. And one time I was at his show and Julio ended up dropping because he had another show. He was busy. And he was like, yo, I need somebody to go up and do 10. And I was like, perfect. And I can't explain that. Like there was like 3 nights of me and Simon hanging out till late that led to that moment. You know what I'm saying? And you never know what it's going to be, but you got to be nice to everybody, meet everybody. If you want to be on a show, go to that show. If you want to fucking work with somebody, introduce yourself to that person. And you have to be present. You can't, comedy's not a game where you can show up, do your shit and leave. Unless you're like that guy. But I feel like if you're getting started.
Before you were that guy, you're probably chilling.
Yeah, I'm chilling every day like still. Like I'm like yesterday, I'm still hungover from Sunday right now. So like this is
dude, that's also how I get, by the way. 48-hour hangover.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo. So yesterday's the first day I took off in like 2 weeks. But if you have the time and the energy, you have to be doing that shit. You got to be hanging, meeting people, always networking. And it's actually funny because I thought that I was going to skip all the corporate stuff when I chose to do comedy. But a lot of it is still a corporate feeling. You have to hang. You got to meet people. You got to do the happy hours. You got to like, shake the hands, meet people that you wouldn't necessarily always talk to. And that's such a big part of what comedy is to me. Not because I love to do it, because I know this is important to other people for them to be comfortable with me. And the people that I end up putting on my shows is people that I like, you know, people that I fuck with, who's got good energy, that I'm more likely to throw you up if I've hung out with you before, other than somebody that I've heard is funny that I've never met. You know what I'm saying?
Also, by the way, guys, JC will be getting on the Ted Jones Comedy Show September when we get the date. And part of the reason, obviously not full of the reason, this guy's very funny, but like part of the reason I see him hanging around the Ted Jones Comedy Show sometimes. Yeah, man. I see him at the stand all the time. So I think just like you're saying, having a familiar face, knowing that you're funny, I mean, it's just going to continuously just get you places where you want to grow.
Yeah, and especially like for you, right? You're opening up for Giulio, right? And so much of that is just Giulio is confident that you're a good dude to be around, that he can fuck with you. Obviously, you're funny. Obviously, you work hard. But like Giulio wouldn't give you this opportunity if he didn't trust that you were a cool person to spend a lot of time with.
Was also talking about too. He's like the hang is, he knows like the hang is super important. You don't want to go to someone 5 days in Boise, Idaho, and they're a terrible hang.
Exactly. And Cab is one of the, like Cab and Max, I used to not go anywhere without them because like I'm not a shy person, but I always feel like I told you before, I don't like approaching people like because I feel weird. So Cab a lot was the person that I would go with and be like, Cab, introducing me to everybody here, so that when I come back, I don't have to be with you. But I wouldn't go anywhere without Cab because Cab would be, he's such a big personality. He'll just be like, oh, what's up? You know this guy? You know this guy? And he'll just introduce you to anybody. So I used to follow Cab around all the time because he was so good at the hang. And I learned a lot from him. And Max too. Max is like that.
The homies. JC, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, bro. Anytime, bro. Shout out the show one more time. We're putting the link right here. Yes, and then also shout out your Instagram, please.
Appreciate it, man. So the show is Bodega Kids. It happens this Friday at St. Mark's at 9 o'clock. Free show. Come through. Great lineup. I also got Street Talk on the 30th, and I got Brownish on the 31st. So I got 3 shows. Pick anyone that I'll consider my birthday gift, all right? And my Instagram is at PeachFuzzPapi, TikTok at PeachFuzzPapi, Twitter at PeachFuzzPapi.
Beautiful. And get to that show in September. Check the link in this YouTube video, Ted Jones Comedy Show. You'll see JC there, all right, guys? We'll see you next time. Yes, Peace. Sir.